Stranger Things team with our Stranger Things shirt.
Let's stand up so they can see our Stranger Things shirts.
Ah.
Woohoo! We were Stranger Things for Halloween, and our costumes were like wildly popular with like the people in the streets. People were like stopping us to take pictures of us and stuff because of our costumes.
Even people like gave me extra candy. Before, when I was at aftercare at school, like everybody loved my costume. They gave me extra candy, and my bag was like, I can't hold this anymore.
Anyways, so our Stranger Things costumes were like way outrageous, and it was really, really awesome. So we are here today for this episode of Fanta-Sci to discuss the story Life of Pi. I read the book recently, and then we went and we got the movie from the library, and Bella watched it with me, and we loved the story so much. Just a short introduction to the story of Life of Pi. This boy named Piscine actually is his real name, but he decides that he likes Pi better because people are making fun of him in school, calling him Pissing. So he decides he's going to call himself Pi. His father owns a zoo in India, and so he grew up in a zoo with lots and lots of different animals. He has an appreciation for animals and a very deep knowledge of animal behavior. He also is a very religious boy. He grew up as a Hindu. His family was Hindu, and then he discovered Jesus Christ while he was on vacation one summer with his brother, and then he also got into Islam along the way somewhere as well. So he practices 3 religions. He knows lots and lots about animal behavior. That is kind of the first part of the book. The movie kind of discusses a lot of this stuff, but they do it in like a shortened, condensed version, so you don't get a lot of like boring backstory. The story really begins when his father sells the zoo and decides they're going to move from India to Canada. I guess India's having some political strife going on. It's the 1970s, and he decides it'll be better off if they move to Canada. So they pack up all the animals, and they jump on a cargo ship on their way to Canada.
And then a humongous storm happened. It was raining cats and dogs. Everybody was sleeping. He heard it. He went dancing out the rain. He didn't know it was dangerous. It was lightning. He fell. And then it started sinking. And then the alarm came on. Mm-hmm. And then he jumped in the water.
Somebody from the crew was trying to save him, and so they gave him a life jacket and they threw him in a lifeboat, and they were about to untether the lifeboat, and a big gigantic zebra jumps off the boat right into his lifeboat with him and breaks his leg, so he's got an injured zebra in the lifeboat with him as it's sailing away.
And then he sees something. He doesn't know what it is. He just sees something.
He sees something or somebody floating in the water during this storm and this commotion.
He finds out it's a tiger.
It's a tiger. It's Richard Parker, his tiger from the zoo. And he's like, oh my gosh, I cannot have a tiger on board. And he tries to kick it away, but Richard Parker climbs on board. And he's super angry, obviously, because he's stressed out. So Pi jumps into the water. He's like, I'm not going to stay here with a tiger. And he jumps in the water, but then he gets surrounded by sharks instantly. So he's like, well, whatever. I guess I'm better off in the boat. So he jumps back in the boat. The ship capsizes. He doesn't find any other people. The very next morning, an orangutan floats by on a float of bananas and kind of climbs into the boat with him. So now, tell him about the other animal that they find in there.
They find a hyena, and it's like so dangerous.
He's super crazy.
He ate the gorilla.
No, the zebra.
The zebra, then he ate the gorilla.
Oh, the orangutan, that's what you're thinking of.
The orangutan.
Well, the zebra's injured anyways, and like you kind of know the zebra's probably gonna die, so the hyena kills the zebra, and then the next morning him and the orangutan kind of get into a fight. He kills the orangutan, and then as he's freaking out about all of this happening, the tiger comes out from under the tarp and just rips him to pieces.
Yeah, then like this little, like, he made this little raft, and the tiger was super mad. He was very hungry, so they found this, like, rat or mouse. They throwed it to him, and he ate it.
Right. So now Pi is in a predicament because he has to survive, and he has to figure out how to survive with this carnivorous beast with him on the boat. So he decides the best thing to do is to probably try to train it a little bit, feed it. So he starts fishing and collecting different morsels of food that the tiger can eat to keep him happy. He starts giving him a little bit of water here and there. It's the best idea to just try to live and communicate with Richard Parker the best that he can, which in the beginning is very, very scary, but then towards the end, you know, it gets a little better. Him and Richard Parker kind of become friends.
He finds the life stuff.
The supplies that are in the boat, yeah.
And he finds some biscuits, some cookies, $100 of water, and like a survival kit, and like
some hooks and a hatchet, you know, a net, some solar stills that he can kind of drain the salt out of the water so that he can drink, a bucket, you know, some other survival gear. So he's not left with absolutely nothing. The lifeboat came with some supplies, and he has, in the beginning, enough food and water to last him, like, I think 100 days or so. And it turns out that he needs a lot more than that because he's on the sea for like over 200 days. At one point, he lands on like this island.
First, he lands on a grassy island, and then
Yeah, the grassy island though has like all these meerkats, and it's crazy. That's the only thing on the island is the meerkats, and there's these freshwater vats. That somehow the algae is like draining out the salt, and it's all fresh water. And he's like, wow, I could like literally live here forever. Like he can eat all the vegetables on the island.
And he finds this like fruit thing, and there's a human tooth in it.
It was crazy. He decides, wow, this whatever this plant is that's growing on this island, it's carnivorous. It actually eats things. And I can't stay here. So it goes from being super happy, finding a potential home, to having to leave the island. And I guess him and Richard Parker are a little depressed after that.
After they leave the grassy island, they go to a sandy island. Then the lifesaver things, people come and they find him, and he's crying because he didn't say bye to Richard, and Richard is now stuck on that island alone.
Well, what happened was when they got to the island, there's a big jungle. They get to Mexico, and there's a big jungle, and Richard Parker jumps off the boat and kind of runs into the jungle without saying anything to Pi, and, you know, he kind of knew that they were going to part ways eventually, but Pi's really sad because that was his only companion. That was one of the only reasons that he survived this whole ordeal, and that was his friend, and he's really sad that Richard Parker just left without saying saying goodbye, basically. He didn't have any closure. And then we get to the end, which there is a twist of sorts at the end, but I don't want to tell anybody what the ending of the movie is. So let's not tell them that part. You guys have to go watch the movie and find out what happens at the end, because it kind of messes with your mind a little bit.
We're just going to tell you he's safe. He's in like a hospital thing. That's all.
Yeah. You kind of know since the beginning that he's going to survive. In the book, too, they're giving you little foreshadowing events of him surviving this ordeal. But there is a twist, so we're not going to spoil it. You guys got to go watch the movie or read the book and find out what happens in the end of Life of Pi. So, bottom line, Life of Pi was wonderful. My wonderful Bella enjoyed it immensely, right? Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say she enjoyed it immensely because Bella gets really sensitive when it comes to animal stuff, and there was a lot of, like, killing of animals in the beginning of this story, and she was kind of horrified a little bit.
And, like, during the movie, I was like, no, I'm leaving. But
I'm not watching this anymore, and I was like, Bells, you have to watch it. You have to finish it. This is one of those movies that's going to, like, change you as a person. And I was right. She really enjoyed it. You ended up really enjoying it. And
the end, though, I was kind of, like, stressed out and mad.
yeah, it was a little confusing at the end, and I don't think she really grasped what happened. Fantastic movie adaptation, first of all. They stayed really true to the book. They took out a lot of the boring backstory and stuff, which was fine with me. I didn't need all that. Jan Martel is a genius for writing this story, and Life of Pi was very visually just amazing. It was very entertaining, and I loved it, and Bells loved it, and we give it 2 thumbs up. Right, Boo?
4 thumbs up.
She's trying to show you her toes, but I don't know if you can see it. That's that for this episode of Fanta-Sci. Thank you guys for joining us. We love you very much.
Hold on. Subscribe to her channel, turn on her post notification, and comment down below after you've seen the movie if you saw it and whack that light.
Yes, all that she said. Thank you, Fanta-Sci fans. We'll see you soon.